Welcome to another episode of the Meal Prep Monday podcast. I'm your host and founder of Prep Dish, Allison Schaaf. Today, I'm talking about home management and creating rhythms within the home. This is a continuation of a mini series on home management that I'm doing. If you did not hear last week's episode, I did an interview with Kim Brenneman. She's the author of Home Management Plain and Simple. That's where I'm pulling a lot of my inspiration for this mini series that I'm doing here on the podcast this month. Before we get into today's topic, a reminder that if you have not tried out our time-saving meal plans, we have a free trial set up for you. So as I get into today's episode, you will hear that Kim recommends having a quote-unquote kitchen day. And if you are a longtime listener of this podcast, you know I love hearing that she has a kitchen day. That is what we talk about at Prep Dish. You know, it doesn't have to be a full day. It's really just kind of setting aside an hour, maybe a few hours to prep all of your food for the week so that the week of meals go really easy. If after listening to this episode, you're like, I would really like to try and have my week be a little more intentional and have a kitchen day or have some time set aside to do some meal prep, then I would highly suggest checking out our free trial for our Prep Dish meal plans. We do all of the work for you up front so that you can step into the kitchen and, dedicate just an hour or two to that meal prep and be set up to go for the week. The free trial is at prepdish.com/MPM, short for Meal Prep Monday. And you can try it out for 14 days, see how it goes. Maybe try 2 weeks of having, this dedicated kitchen time and see how it makes your dinner time easier. So again, that's prepdish.com/MPM to check that out. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 2 different rhythms that Kim outlines in her book. Before I do that, I will say this is not how my house is currently run. I will kind of chime in on some of what I'm doing or what I've pulled for inspiration, but a lot of it's more aspirational for me at this time because when I read this back in the fall, I went through the workbook, I started to implement some of this, and then now we have a new baby. So for any of you with kids, when you have a new baby, a lot of this isn't going to run completely perfectly, but I love the idea of kind of aiming for this and having these days set up and these weeks set up. And there are some rhythms that are very clearly established in my household as well. So let me go through starting with the days of the week. So she has each day of the week a dedicated day. And if you didn't listen to the interview, just a quick background. So Kim is the mom of, I want to say 9 kids. She's homeschooled and the kids are, I think, teenage and up. So she definitely has experience in managing a household and really has a lot of great ideas and systems for how to make that happen. So I will run through kind of each of the 7 days and then I'll go back and go in with a few more, with a little commentary. So Monday is her laundry day. Tuesday is her kitchen day. Wednesday is office day. Thursday's town day. Friday, cleaning day. And Saturday, gardening day. And then Sunday, the Lord's Day. So Monday, laundry day. I definitely have a laundry day at my house. I tend to either do Friday or Saturday. I go back and forth. Friday, I'm usually working and I find sometimes it's distracting, but other times if we have something going on the weekend, I don't know, I kind of flip-flop between those 2 days. One little hack that I have is we have 2.5 washing machines. This is definitely not for everyone. I know it's maybe unrealistic or it seems silly. I thought it was silly when my husband suggested it. He redid our laundry room right before we had kids. And honestly, it's been so amazing to have that because it just makes it a lot easier to batch all of our laundry in that one day. And when I say our laundry, I really mean the laundry I'm doing. The kids' laundry is often done throughout the week, and we have some childcare that helps with that. But the laundry that I'm responsible for is usually, started first thing in the morning, and I try and have it completed by midday so that way some things have to hang dry. By the end of the day, everything is put away. I really like to have everything started and put away all within one day so it's not hanging over my head or, sitting around waiting to be put away. Tuesday is her kitchen day. This is, of course, my favorite day. I love that she sets aside time for prepping. If you've listened to our podcast, this is really like having these days assigned. It's really batching is what she's doing here. And there's just so many efficiencies. So I've talked in depth in the past about the efficiencies of doing a lot of your meal prep all on the same day. So just love that she sets aside time for that. Wednesday, she has an office day. If you are, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or working mom or somewhere in between, setting aside time to do like specifically home management type office stuff, I think is important. Back to that batching, I like to have kind of dedicated hours where I'm focusing on, more, and I would say more family management is what I would call it, because scheduling things for the boys and doing that and not having it take place all like while I'm working, but have it be a separate time chunk. Maybe not necessarily a whole day, but I get how she has like the day for office work. Thursday is her town day. I also have a town day. There's not a specific day of week that I do. The way I do my scheduling with town days is if I have something come up, an appointment or, a meeting or something like that that's in town, that then becomes my town day. And I start adding to it everything that needs to happen. Even if you are not, so me and Kim both live in the country. Even if you don't live in the country though, I would challenge you to look at your week and how you're managing errands and things that you need to drive around and do, and try and see if there's some ways you can batch that a little more, even if it's not just all in one day. Maybe there are certain times where you're already taking the kids someplace and then you can tack on a few errands. It just is a lot more efficient to be in the car a little less and a lot more fun. I don't know. I don't enjoy driving around doing errands. I know some people do, but I do not. Friday is her cleaning day. Saturday is gardening day. I really like this, and I'm hoping in the spring to implement this. So I'm not sure if I've mentioned, but we are in the process of building a food forest. I'm hoping to talk about it on the podcast more in the future. It's really my husband's project, but we have the fence there, and then we're going to start planting this spring. And I just love the idea of having Saturday time set aside, the whole family going and being outside and working in the garden together. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes, but that's something I'm hoping to add in. Sunday, she has the Lord's Day and keeps Sabbath. This isn't something that we do very well in our household, but I love the idea of it. And whether or not you're religious, I just think the idea of having a day of more rest is a really good idea. She even goes so far as, she will create a crock pot meal, like say on Saturday or on her kitchen day. So that way she's not spending a lot of time in the kitchen, and just really using that day as family time and a day of rest. This is an aspirational thing for me and my family. I think with young kids too, it's a little tougher, but I love the sentiment there and something to work towards. Okay. And then the deep cleaning schedule, I'm just going to go through her deep cleaning schedule so you can see how she has that set up. So her weeks of the month, like she goes through and there's a different area of the house she has 5 weeks. So I guess some months, if it's 4 weeks, maybe the playroom, that's week 5, maybe it doesn't happen, or she probably tacks it on to week 4. But week 1, she's always doing the dining room. Week 2, the bathroom and mudroom. Week 3, the bedrooms. Week 4, living room. And then week 5, the playroom. I don't have set aside time to do deep cleaning in rooms. And I also do get help with some of our housework. So, it's more like if I see something, then I'll just tackle it, but usually more on those weekend times. The one thing that we do though is it's not a weekly rhythm. I try and sort of have a monthly rhythm of going into rooms, and I guess you could call it deep cleaning, but I think of it more as organizing, because it's less like getting out like a mop and like dusting and mopping and all that. It's more organizing. So I've thought of like, it would be nice to maybe have like each month assigned a different room of the house. So I feel like by the time you do each room, then you're kind of ready to start back over. Like, January, you do the pantry. We have an under the stairs area. So that's the next month. And then, you kind of tackle these rooms and getting them reorganized. And then by the time you're done, it's like you start back over. So that's not something I have written out, but it is something that I will sometimes sit down with my husband and we'll be like, okay, what room needs to be tackled? And we'll set aside like an hour to do that. One thing that she mentioned, so I think this is on my list to talk about for next week's episode, is in doing that reorganization of rooms is using a timer. Well, not specifically for reorganizing rooms, but she mentions a lot using a timer. And I will say when we're reorganizing rooms, like I often will use a timer like, okay, let's just like tackle this for 20 minutes. And it's amazing when you set your mind to like working on something, it can go a long ways. We've talked about that for meal prep as well, set a timer and see. Sometimes tasks take a lot less time than you might predict. So sometimes it's satisfying to have those timers, but more on that next week. So those are the rhythms that she outlines in the book. I hope you get some good ideas from this. I know that I really got inspired in reading the way her schedule is set up and just rethinking how I manage our house here. Like I said, next week, I'm going to continue on talking about house management. And then I'm going to get into some closet topics. I'm actually putting that kind of under the umbrella of house management. I won't go into detail now, but I think you might find the episode sort of fun. So the series will wrap up with 1 or 2 episodes on some clothing ideas. And a reminder that if you have not tried out our time-saving meal plans, if you want to try and dedicate, a set-aside time to tackle your meal prep, have dinner be nice and easy and already planned out for you, go to prepdish.com/MPM. There is a 2-week free trial, so you can try it free for 14 days, see if it's a good fit, and, go from there. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. I will be back again next week talking more about house management.